We are here in Moneygashel, about 5 miles outside the village of Blacklion. Moneygashel in Gaelic means Moneygashel, thicket of the stone ring fort. Forts in Ireland were very plentiful. Up to 50,000 of various types of construction have been recorded. They are known by various names such as Cashel, Doon, Liss, Rath and Care, words which are reflected in the place names of many Irish towns and villages.
Now this stone fort was built around about the early Christian period, so say 500 to 1000 AD sometime. And this is a really excellent example. It's compared to the stone fort in Staig in Kerry, and it's also compared to the stone fort of the Greenawn.
The interior diameter of this fort at Moneygashel is about 80 foot or 24.5 metres, so it is very slightly wider than on Greenawn of Aileach. Before the Greenawn was restored, it was 6 foot above ground level, whereas Moneygashel Fort presently stands at 6 to 10 foot above ground level.
So you can see at the entranceway here that we've got 7 lintels covering the entranceway.
The internal walls of the entranceway are 9 foot 4 inches thick, to quote Phyllis Richardson, who was visiting in 1938.
You see the size of the huge stones in the walls. These huge stones are part of the geology in this area. So you could think of the effort of building this fort.
Forts of stone and forts of earth were usually contemporaneous. The building of forts very much depended upon what was available in the district.
Now, very interesting, they say that because of the internal staircases, and there's also a staircase on the outside as well, that it's very likely that this wall was terraced, so much higher. You can see areas where it's fallen down in places, but you can see other areas where the wall is still quite integral.
The upper terraces and staircases that are seen today at Greenawn have all been restored. Moneygashel has a southerly aspect, and with the way the land slopes, one can really appreciate that it is very well designed to receive a maximum amount of daily sunlight.
So it mentions that there's a water culvert that would have directed water into the centre of the stone fort, and this is most likely it. And apparently there was a central depression in the centre of the fort where the water would have gathered, and they would have used this gathered water to water the animals. As you look around, the interior of the walls are in excellent condition. You can see some places on the outside of the walls where the walls are beginning to bulge outwards. But considering the age of this building, it's really in excellent condition. Now you can see also that there's no mortar used in this stone construction. There's a dry stone construction. Here we have an example of steps into the wall, steps leading out of the wall. So this wall would have been much higher. We have an external staircase right here. Now this is not common. We'll just have a little look up here. So the speculation is that this area up here would have been a raised terrace where you could walk all the way around the building.
Cashels and Cares were the stone counterparts of the earthen rath or liss. Doon translates from Irish as stronghold or fortified place. The forts were secure enclosures built to protect both people and their livestock.
So one of the reasons for these ring forts was because cattle raiding was so popular at this particular time in Ireland. So they would have brought all their livestock inside into this stone enclosure to protect the livestock. There would have been houses inside, and the houses would have been of earthen and wood construction within the building itself. So there's 2 more forts in the hills up around this area, which would have been connected to this family group And intravisible was a big aspect of these forts. So they'd be able to see each other if it happened that they needed help. I'm looking at the mountain, and it's very interesting to me that they would have worshipped this mountain up to the 18th century. So at the time when this particular ring fort was being lived in, they're looking at their sacred mountain.
This cashel is dated to the early Christian times in Ireland, but forts were being built in the Iron Age also. There is significant debate about the chronology of forts in Ireland, and more work is required to date finds. For now, we can say that Moneygashel is a splendid example of one of the farm enclosures of early medieval Ireland.